There are a lot of videos online that invite you to think outside the box. And that's good, since all the ideas that have actually transformed human reality came out of the minds of men and women who were able to think way beyond what was expected. People who were able to avoid all the conditionings of their surroundings while searching for better lucidity. With this video I am contributing my point of view to all people who like to think outside the box. This idea becomes a proposal. A proposal for all people who live in every city on Earth. So, let's begin. My name is Ignacio Montilla and I have a proposal for all humanity. The proposal is the universalization of time measurement units. The units used to mark the cycle that we a day. In other words, hours, minutes, and seconds. These units were conceived inside a decimal number system by people who clearly understood the cycle that they meant to measure. The other units are the ones that we call Gregorian calendar. These last ones were conceived inside the Roman numeric system by people who did not understand the cycles that they meant to measure, and these are the ones that we can correct. To start, we have to acknowledge that the sun rises and sets as a product of the Earth's rotation on its own axis. It's not a Monday, not a Wednesday, not even a Sunday. It is not the 1st of January, or the 3rd of May, or July 14th, or September 24th. It is not 1930, not even 1988. All these are not more than a construct in the mind, an international convention. Even years such as 2000 or 2012, which generated so much expectation in large numbers of people, were no more significant than an idea in the mind. The entire universe still functions the same way that it did 2000 years ago and will in 2000 more. To achieve a correct and universal time measurement, the first thing that we have to look for is a starting point, a natural event common to all human beings. We all know that the orbit of the Earth around the Sun has two extremes easily recognizable. We call them solstices. The winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, that corresponds with the summer solstice in the southern hemisphere, happens during moment near to the start of the time measurement that we currently use. This natural phenomenon would be the right one to begin the new time count, since all the people that inhabit in planet Earth experience it at the same time. We should also evaluate which number should be designated to this day. In the decimal numeric system, a closed cycle like the orbit of the Earth is expressed with a number for each one of its parts and 0 to indicate the place where the cycle closes and restarts again. The closest example that we have is one that we mentioned at the beginning. The days begin and end at hour 0. The reason that the calendar we use today does not have a day 0 is that it was conceived inside a Roman numeric system. And as we know, that system does not have the number 0. Let's continue with the months. According to the natural cycle of the moon, we can observe two phenomena that are worth distinguishing. On one side we have what we call the phases of the moon. This is a phenomena that can be observed at plain sight in the night sky. It is related to the way that the sunlight is reflected on the moon and how it can be seen from the Earth. From the observation of this phenomena, the different names of the moon phases appeared: full moon, waning quarter, etc. The phases of the moon cycle are completed every 29.5 days. That is why some ancient cultures designated 30 days to the duration of the month, but is just an approximate of the lunar cycle. On the other side we have the orbit of the moon around the Earth. This cycle is completed 13 times in a period of 355 days. That means that each cycle ends and restarts every 27 days in a fraction. The gravitational force that exists between the Moon and the Earth has the capacity to elevate the tides, changing the shape of the Earth when it passes through the oceans. This force has shaped, in one way or another, all the ways of life that exist and have existed on Earth. We know now that the cycle of this force and the reproductive cycle of women are synchronized. Due to this, it is more relevant to use this cycle than the one described before. As opposed to the months described on the Gregorian calendar, both natural cycles happen in a perfect regular time. On another side, there is what Pope Gregorian XIII said: the duration of the solar day is calculated according to the position of the sun on the sky, but the Earth must spin more than 360 degrees for the sun to come back to the same position the following day. Meaning with this, that in the 24 hours, which we measure as the length of a day, the Earth must spin 360 degrees in a fraction. This is how we measure the day and night, but not the real time that the Earth takes to make its rotation cycle. Due to this, a small error is accumulated in the measurement, and it is necessary to count one more day every 4 years so there wouldn't be a difference between the daylight and night with the time of each season. Following this rationale, a universal and correct time count would be like this: a day 0 on the solstice, with 13 regular months of 28 days each, and 1 month of 29 days every 4 years. The new calendars should be printed along with a table of equivalence to allow each religion, institution, culture, and person to put their important dates in a real and correct calendar, secular and universal. There are many bases that support and make sense to this reasoning. I have chosen 4 to include in this video. First, all of us who have had the opportunity for education know that these units of time measurement that we use at the present are not correct. What would happen if we measure time along with natural and universal phenomena? Second, we don't know if the implantation in the mind of all the human beings who live on Earth with a disjointed reality of the calendar is affecting negatively our mental faculties, or if it is complicating our correct interpretation of reality, because there's no existence on Earth of a witness city or model where this correct time measurement units are being used. Using correct time measurement units with the universal events would change our time pass perception. Third, these time measurement units that we use all over the world come from a time in humanity where women did not have voice or vote. They were not taken into consideration, and we can say that this was a form of gender violence. Every woman has, naturally, inside her body a cycle that connects her closer to the right understanding of passing time. This makes them privileged, connected with real time. Why don't we take into consideration this event that happens to more than half of the world population? Fourth, continuing to use incorrect time measurement units means that we are assuming the responsibility of teaching our kids something that we know is clearly incorrect and unreal. How many people in the world are willing to teach their kids something that they know is a lie as a true fact? Conclusion: the proposal is that we celebrate New Year's in the next solstice of winter in the Northern Hemisphere and begin the new correct time count, secular and universal. So from that point forward we can observe what happens with our comprehension of the universe that we live in. This is it. And if anyone has a better idea, speak now, since this humanity is running out of time.